Okay, so now we're going to talk about the active behavior of fortitude. Fortitude is one of Spinoza's answers to the problems of the emotions. And here's the problem that he's addressing. Most of us know what is right. We already have an idea of right from wrong, and we don't really need to think through what is the right thing to do. The real problem is, how can we know what is right to do and then fail to do it, right? Aristotle called this the problem of acrasia. And by acrasia, what he meant was weakness, moral weakness. How is it that we fail to do what we know is the right thing to do? And the answer is because we get caught up in the moment, right? And I'm going to give you a good example of this, even though it's a little bit self-confessional. Yesterday, I totally screwed up in keeping one of my rules, and I have felt really bad about it. And I've done my best to try to do better and to learn from my mistake. And here's what I did. So yesterday morning, we have this kind of routine in the family while everything is going on, and the baby will wake up. I'll be downstairs doing my thing. Michelle, my wife, will get the baby up, feed her some breakfast, and then bring her down, and she hangs out with me for a little while in the mornings. And I'm in the basement doing my training and other things, right? So Michelle brought the baby down, but she fell down the stairs. And it's a full flight of stairs to go down to the basement. And she fell all the way down, and there were many tears on all sides and a really bad bruise on her hip. And she's 7 months pregnant. So, after making sure she was okay, and I took the baby, calmed her down, and went back to doing my thing, Michelle called the doctor, and the doctor said, we really think you should come into the hospital just to be sure. Michelle wasn't feeling like anything was wrong with the baby, but, it's a high-risk pregnancy, who knows what, right? So, but she's really scared to go to the doctor during COVID-19, to go into the hospital and have ultrasounds done to make sure the baby and everything is okay. So she was planning on going. So we talked a little bit about her going, and it seemed to me that we had the plan that she was going to go herself because there wasn't any reason for me to go into the hospital and expose myself to potentially getting COVID-19. And so she was going to go on her own and do this. So about an hour and a half later, I was in the middle of a really time-sensitive issue. I day trade stocks in the mornings sometimes, and so I was in the middle of a trade. And when I'm right in the middle of a big trade, I don't want to leave because you got to watch it, and then you want to sell when it's high, and not get caught holding on to stock longer than you really wanted to. So I was right in the middle of it, and she said, "Okay, are you ready to go?" And I was like, "What are you talking about, ready to go? I'm staying home. You were going alone." And she said, "No, but I want you to give me a ride, drop me off, and then come back and pick me up." And I was like, "I don't want to drop you off. I want to stay here. I'm right in the middle of this stuff, and I need to babysit this, and I got to stay here with the kids, and blah 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 blah." And she was like, "No, I really am scared, and I want you to take me to the hospital." And I said, "That's stupid." And I was really mean back, right? And you may remember that one of my rules to live by is go the extra mile. If I had thought go the extra mile, I would have just dropped my resistance and gone, but it didn't even occur to me. And I kept up my grouchy resistance. I probably needed to eat. I don't know what the deal was. I was very passive, and I was really mean about it. I ended up driving her, but half of the way there, I was like, wow, why are you so afraid? Why can't you just do this on your own? Why do you have to make your fears my problem? And I was really not nice. This is another way of saying I was really mean, right? I was grouchy, and I did not make it easier for her. And she was already afraid, and she'd just fallen down the stairs, and she's 7 months pregnant. Like, what kind of jerk am I, right? That I was not anxious to take her, that I wasn't caring about taking her. I even said something stupid like, they're going to just send you right back and that everything is going to be okay. And then the thought occurred to me, but what if there is something wrong? And what a big jerk are you going to feel like, right? So like in the middle of the conversation, I just stopped myself, took a few deep breaths, realized I was really being a jerk, and came back and sincerely apologized and was very sorry and told her that I was being a jerk and I'm sorry about that and all of that. But, that was a little bit too late, right? I was a jerk. And I was not prepared for that request. And so I acted really unreasonably. What Spinoza would say is I was passive. I was grouchy. I was mean. I wasn't angry, but it was a pain to me, right? Like I did not want to go get in the car, drive her 15 minutes to the hospital, drop her off, and then come back 2 hours later and pick her back up again. And so I was selfish, and I was cruel, and it was bad, right? This is unethical. It's bad behavior. Yeah, now on the scale of things, it's not killing somebody, but I disregarded her feelings, I disregarded her fear, I disregarded her needs, and I was very rude about it. That's passive behavior, right? The emotion just carried me, and I didn't even think. I wasn't thinking anymore at all reasonably. I was just being passive. And it has caused me regret. And regret is another emotion, right? That is also being passive. So what should I have done? Well, I should have remembered my rule. And I should have taken that as an opportunity to practice my rule. It would have made me a better person. What rule do I have? Well, I have this rule already. Go the extra mile. But I didn't review it yesterday morning. I didn't think about it in the morning. I was doing other things. And so I didn't take the time to put myself in a reasonable frame of mind. I didn't review my rule. So then when the opportunity came for me to practice, it was a golden opportunity, a great moment for me to reinforce the value of going the extra mile, of being reasonable and being useful and being helpful to somebody else, of being a cause of love for them, right? Of making things easier for their life. This is what a reasonable person would do, because it will make my life better if I make her life better. If she sees me as someone who brings her more perfection, she will love me. And when she loves me, that's good for me. So a reasonable person would go the extra mile. I know that. I've thought that through. But in the moment that I had a chance to practice it, I failed. This wasn't about not knowing what the right thing to do is. This is a matter of doing the right thing. So why did I fail? Because of the emotion. The emotion of the moment, the emotion of pain. I don't want to drive you. This, is making me less perfect. It's getting in my way. It's not allowing me to do what I want to do. I want to sit here and watch this stock because it's going to jump up and I'm going to sell and we're going to make some money on it. And so I need to stay here, right? That was my emotion, my desire. And that put me in pain. I can't do what I want to do. Oh, I don't have power. She's making requests of me. Oh, poor me. I'm smaller. She's being mean to me. I hate that. Right? So then I'm angry and I say stupid and mean things. And I had a chance. This is the thing. Every chance you have to practice your rules is a chance to reinforce your rules, to become that much quicker at doing them the next time because you did it. And then you see the benefit of doing it. But when you fail, you reinforce the failure. And that makes you not just worse in that moment, but worse the next time and the next time unless you catch it, right? So what I'm doing here, I'm thinking it through and I'm catching it. But for your benefit, to teach you, I'd already done this yesterday. I've gone through it. I've apologized in profuse ways and tried to be much kinder because I need to reinforce to me the value of my rule. And here's what I missed out on. I missed out on a chance to do it right. And what does doing it right do for me? It makes my life better. I missed a chance to make my life better. If I could rewind it and have what would I do differently? I would start my day remembering my rules and thinking about why they're important to me. Then when the chance comes for me to practice my rule, I don't want to do that. Go the extra mile kicks in. I may not feel like going the extra mile still. I may still very much feel like I don't want to do it. But I have committed to keeping this rule. And I know the rule is reasonable, so I will hold to my commitment even though I don't want to. The name for that action, and it's an activity and not a passivity anymore, because I'm no longer being moved by my emotion. I'm stopping that emotion by a commitment, by my love of my commitment. That's another emotion. I say to myself, I don't want to do this thing. I don't want to drive you to the hospital, but I care more about keeping my commitment. Care is mine, according to Heidegger. That's what makes me me. And when I take control of that care, I am authentic. I have ownership. Or Spinoza would say, I am active. And only way I can do that is by making these rules, committing to them, and then keeping them, especially when I don't feel like it. So yesterday, if I could do it differently, when she says, I want you to take me, I would say, oh, go the extra mile. Okay, I'm going to go the extra mile. And then in going the extra mile, I would review why I'm going the extra mile until reason comes back to me and I'm grateful for doing it. And why will I be grateful for doing it? Because I will see that it's making me better. It's improving my relationship with my wife. It's putting things that are really important first. And therefore, I will be grateful to myself, not in the sense of glory, but in the sense of reason. The word for that is courage. This is a part of fortitude. Fortitude has two elements to it. One is courage, and the other is nobility. I'm covering courage now. Courage is the ability to do what is reasonable when you don't feel like it. And the only way you can do that is if you've made rules ahead of time and you commit to keeping them when you don't want to anymore. You have to remember them. It's the first step. And then you have to do it. Don't just think about it. You have to do it. But when you commit to your reasonable rules, even when you don't want to do it anymore, that's called courage. And that's the end of this video.